my goodness, my nerves were crazy. I recorded a highlight of it, and like I had camera people like recording the whole time. So like before my performance, you kind of saw me on stage like jumping, like my arms around you, like nervous stuff. And but it was really cool. It was awesome. I didn't like I did have performance experience, but having that specific amount of energy was totally different from my acoustic stuff. I'm so used to like the emotional, like slower songs, and then now all of a sudden I'm in the middle of a pool that's on a riser.
Hello, welcome to Metaverse Degen. I'm Lion, and no co-host today, but we are here joined by our wonderful guest.
Hello, I'm Naku,
Oh,
and I do music stuff. All
oh,
sorts of music stuff. Oh,
oh, hello. It's a pleasure to meet you. Thank you for joining us. It's an absolute honor to be able to sit here and get to meet you, so thank you very much. Oh,
of course. No, I've done quite a few interviews, and I always love to yap about just everything I do. Um, it's so much fun. I love it.
oh, well, I guess we'll just jump right into it then, I guess. What are you known for? How'd you get started? What got you into VRChat?
So I do music, but specifically I play piano and sing. Um, and that's like kind of that's not how I started, but that's like what I kind of figured out what I wanted to do. But I'm involved with like the VRChat DJ scene, a lot of other music events, all have music related stuff. Um, but I started VRChat back in like early 2018.
Oh,
I installed the game when it first released on Steam in December of 2017, but I didn't really play it. I just was like looking for places to like play in like a video game. I loved playing music in other video games and stuff, and chat was like another thing I was looking into. But then as like the year in 2018 went on, I decided to like try it out more seriously, I guess you can say. I would go on like desktop and go to the old open mic night and go in the corner and play like my ukulele and stuff. But I was like so shy and nervous. I'd mute my mic the moment someone would come by, um, which is the complete opposite to what I am now. But no, it was just I just kind of ran into the game randomly because I loved looking for games that are like kind of social-ish, like that don't really have like a definite goal. It's like user community driven and all that stuff. But my big break wasn't with music actually. I got the game on desktop, and as most people do, they see people in VR and they're like, "Whoa, that looks really cool." Um, and so my first VR headset was the Oculus Rift, the CV1, um, and I got in VR and I was like, the stream camera looks like a phone. So I started off doing these little vlogs in VR chat, live streaming it and stuff, and that's how I started my community. One thing led to another, and I always knew when I was a kid music was my passion. So in some way, shape, or form, I wanted to bring that into here, and so I feel like I did successfully. Nowadays, what I do, like what I'm known for, is my acoustic sessions. I host them 3 times a week, and I perform for 2 hours, taking song requests and stuff. It's kind of like busking in VR, like going to a subway, setting up your gear, or just performing and stuff. But I could do it from the comfort of my own home. I live stream it, and I do it in random public worlds, and it's awesome. That's kind of what I'm known for.
oh. So a question I have for you is, from when you started playing in the corner all shy, how did you end up where you now? What was the journey that led you to kind of open up from muting your mic when someone watches to being on live stream in publics?
Honestly, honestly, it's just like brute force. I just kept doing it and doing it until I was able to get myself out there. It really is all about just practice makes perfect. Um, I, I like met more and more people in VRChat as you do, and eventually like found a little group, and then they would listen to me, and that kind of gave me confidence to keep doing it. It was all about really just throwing yourself out there, kind of just fighting past it.
Hmm. Okay. So, what got you into music initially? What was the background before? How did you find yourself into playing?
So growing up. I have a brother and a sister, and our parents always wanted to do music, but they never could. So when they had us, they forced all of us to take piano lessons. We hated it. Kind of a generic Asian upbringing. I'm Filipino, and so our parents they really wanted us to do music since they didn't get the chance to do that. But that's kind of how it's like kind of got into our heads. Growing up in middle school and stuff like that, we joined the jazz band and all that stuff and the marching band. But a big inspiration to me growing up to like really keep doing music is my brother actually. He made it. He's awesome. I love him. We're still really close and we play games every now and then. But you might know him, you might not. My brother is DJ Joe, and when I was growing up, he started his career in high school, and I saw that happen, and it was really inspirational. And so like I got exposed to like FL Studios. My brother actually showed me Porter Robinson when we were growing up, and Porter Robinson's like my favorite artist. Awesome stuff. But seeing my brother perform and stuff, like and like just kind of build up his passion, kind of like influenced me to kind of pursue music as well, just in my own way in my own environment. But it's yeah, that's kind of he's a big reason why I really stuck with music and kept going.
Okay. So may I ask you this: over the years, both in Vrchat and your music career, what are some memories that sit close with you? What are some things you remember over the course of your time playing music?
Hmm. Definitely. I remember when I was in high school, we had like a contemporary jazz band called Breeze. Um, and being able to perform for people. Specifically, we used to like almost like on tour, but we used to go to elementary schools and play for like the younger kids to inspire them to pick up music and stuff like that. Um, and I used to be on the drums a lot, and I thought it was really cool how like they were so interested in seeing like how everything worked. Like oh yeah, this is a hi hat. I have a pedal here, you know, that brings it up and down, and like I kind of keep the beat for the rest of the group and stuff like that. And it was really cool to see like such young minds like pursuing music. You know, it's like wow, that was me when I was a kid, and it was like being able to inspire them to do that as well. That's definitely a big core memory for me, performing and stuff. But of recent, um, every now and then I get the opportunity to do like an IRL gig outside of here and stuff like that. And it's I love VR, but the energy you get from like the crowded room and the eyes on you is totally different. I remember I went with my brother to one of his cons because he DJs and stuff at cons sometimes. It was Hallmat in Florida, and I was able to get a slot on this little stage called the Lumina stage, and it was really cool. Like I brought my gear, my piano and stuff, and set it all up, and then people sat down and listened, and it was really cool to really play for people. Honestly, I think like the majority of my performances is they always stick with me because something about being able to reach someone through like a creative process, like I have people come up to me and express how like this specific song that I wrote like really relates to them, even though I was just expressing my own feeling, and it's like wow, we're really not all that different. That's really cool.
When you first started playing music in VRChat, or even more for others to see, was that something you expected, or is it something that kind of grew into what you were doing?
I didn't think it would go this far. Um, I, I always knew I wanted to do music, whether that was just like uploading songs online or like making fun of YouTube videos or something. But I just like I was like streaming when it first started. in my mind, I was like, streaming's easy. You know, I can just turn on my camera or my stream camera and start playing. Over time, more and more people liked it, and then it was kind of growing, and I was like, you know, this actually isn't as easy as, you know, it's not just a matter of turning it on. You're constantly in front of people and playing and stuff like that, and I love it. Don't get me wrong, but there is definitely a learning curve to really making it what I want it to be. If that makes sense. Yeah. Like nowadays, I have a whole staff team. We have someone create a public instance, of course, group publics. Thank goodness for that update, by the way. Group public instance, and then they set it up beforehand, and it gets filled up, and then we have staff moderating it, and then during the stream, we have like a request queue, and someone's running that while I'm playing, and then we have a camera operator who runs the cameras during the stream. So there's a whole process that was cultivated over like pretty much years, and it's like I love where it is now, and it's awesome. I went on a tangent there. What was the question again?
It's okay. Please don't ever apologize for going on tangents. I enjoy them. Every guest who's gone on long tangents about anything, we always encourage. So please, if you want to go talk about something for an hour, go for it. And the question was, you were talking about the experience that you get with someone coming up, like connecting their song artistically, like playing public for people. Asked, was that something you expected when you started playing more publicly, or did you kind of something you grew to enjoy over the course of doing them?
Definitely, I grew to enjoy that, because normally I used to just play whatever I wanted. And then over time, you know, more and more people kept requesting a song, and I was like, what if I incorporated this somehow into the show, and stuff like that. And then as I started to grow, I used to have like a learn song redeem, where like someone uses their channel points to give me a song to learn. But I got like too many requests of those, and I got overwhelmed. So I ended up just like I don't learn songs from people, but I let them post it on Discord and stuff like that. And so if I like the song, I might end up learning it. But I kind of have like a bit of a mental block. If I don't like absolutely like love the song, it's hard for me to learn it. But if it's a song that I really fuck with the song, it's really sick, I can learn it really quickly. It's a blessing and a curse. But I didn't really expect it to be where it is now. So that's awesome. I'm glad I'm where I am now.
So may I ask, since the community like wanting to reach out and interact with you wasn't something expected, what was some of the experiences that made you want to keep on going, or some of them that stuck with you that made you want to keep doing it?
Oh man, there's so many instances that keep me going, but the main thing that I love to see, which kind of ties back to when I mentioned the high school jazz band, was someone coming up to me like after a performance and like straight up saying, "Hey, I picked up piano because of you," or "Hey, I'm pursuing music because of you," and it's like, that's awesome. And then I love it even if someone even comes up and says, "Can I get a selfie with you?" or like, "Hey, I listened to your music online," and it's like, that's really cool that I was able to create something that so many people can connect with. Something that I love happening. I mean, maybe it's a little egotistical, but like sometimes when I go to a public world and someone says like they know my music, even though I've never seen them, I'm just like, hell yeah, that's awesome, bro. It's really cool. Sometimes people don't even know I play Vrchat, and they just listen. Like my song that blew up, Stage Struck. Sometimes I run into someone in game, and it's like, wait, are you the Naku that wrote like that song? And I'm like, yeah, I play this game and stuff. And it's like, oh shit. And then I tell them about my acoustic session, and then they come to those to hear my songs live, and it's like, that's really cool that they hear that from me like outside of the game, and then they find out that I'm in the game, and it's like really cool from both perspectives, because it's like they get to interact with that artist that they listen to, and it's like, that's awesome.
Ooh. So when you're writing your own music, what kind of inspirations do you drive from that, or what are some that are more personal to you that you've written over time?
Ooh, okay. So the majority of my songs are all from like self-experience and stuff. Every now and then I get someone, for example, there was an indie film in Vrchat called Ulterior Motives, and Ariel asked me to write a song for it. So every now and then I get, something that I don't necessarily directly connect with, but I'm still able to like, write for it and stuff. But all of my main like original songs are straight from my experiences. You mentioned what single song do I think is like most important to me or something like that. Definitely songs about my mom. She passed away when I was in middle school, and that definitely progresses someone's character. But I wrote a couple songs like about her and stuff, and my most latest one is called "An Update to You," and it's essentially a song that it's kind of like writing a letter to my mom in a song form. It's like, hey, this is where I am now, and it's like it starts off saying like, oh, I went through nursing school and stuff like that, and it's like, oh, I got a job, but I still love music, and it's like, oh, now I'm doing music, and it's like, hell yeah, and like, I hope you can hear me from up there or something like that. And so it's that song is definitely one of my most cherished songs. And I worked with my brother. My brother did the production on it. I did like songwriting, composition, and performing and stuff. And he, on that song specifically as well, also experimented with new stuff that he hasn't worked with. So it was really cool that we both came together with this song, and then it's awesome. I love that song. An Update to You is what it's called.
Ooh, we'll make sure to have the link down in the video for people to click and go listen to it. So with music production, did you ever hand in the virtual stuff before VRChat, or did you kind of drive more into it the longer you started making music here?
It did kind of. I did do stuff before VRChat, not like as seriously now, but I still kind of tipped my toe into the water, just kind of like messed around on FL Studios, even GarageBand I used a little bit. But my main focus was always the acoustic performances and stuff like that. Just learning to really hone my piano and vocals and stuff like that. My ukulele, and even drums. But learning the production techniques really helps a lot with setting up like the audio routing and like the foundation of like how the audio is heard. I still use FL Studios for live performances. Going through like a whole like audio bus chain through a mixer and all that stuff, and it really helped to have some production knowledge beforehand getting into it.
Ooh. Thank you. And you mentioned with the song you wrote for your mom that your brother helped you out. Does he interact with what you do in the platform often? Or
not often. So he doesn't really do a whole lot of VR. I did kind of show it to him a while back in Slyfest 2021. Got him a slot, and like he was able to perform, and he thought it was really cool. But it's just not really his type of thing. He did for a little bit like play piano on there, and it was really cool to see. There was this old Shibuya world, and it was like the Shibuya crossing place. And he was in some Fate Stay anime avatar, and it was a fun little thing. But no, he does. He doesn't do a whole lot of VRChat. Maybe one day I can drag him back in here. But no, he does support what I do and stuff, and thinks it's cool.
Okay. Another question that I would like to ask, kind of I'm curious about, since you've done both shows in real life and VRChat, how different are the two experiences from both as user performer and those in the audience between the two mediums?
I would say, honestly, I find IRL kind of easier, mainly because when I do it virtually, I kind of have like I guess I'm kind of critical of myself, because like I know exactly how the sound is going to travel through FL, how to equalize it, what's going on here, when do I need to like stop here and stuff like that. IRL, I feel like is slightly different. You go up there and you're performing, and it's usually like raw acoustics, or you're going through a speaker, and you don't necessarily have control over like the specific sound all the time. I mean, yeah, you can mix and stuff through like your own laptop or your own audio and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, it's going through the speakers and reverberating through a room that you don't know the specifications of and stuff like that. So you're kind of just like, I kind of just get so locked into the performance itself when it's IRL in comparison to the technicality of the VR side of things and doing it like that. If that makes sense.
Well, makes a lot of sense. Thank you for explaining. I was just curious to ask that because I've never, well, done that kind of thing. So I'm kind of living vicariously through you by asking that.
To kind of add on to the VR versus IRL, I do DJing stuff as well. And I've done a few DJ IRL gigs and stuff. I would say in VR DJing is a lot easier than IRL DJing. With IRL DJing, I feel like I feel a little more pressure to like not, I guess, mess up a transition or something like that. Yes, in VR, sometimes you can play it off with lag or something, you know. But it's definitely a different feeling entirely. I love both aspects. Don't get me wrong. But IRL, feeling the music in your chest and the live interaction between the people is a totally different feeling than doing it from the comfort of your own home and like, you know, having that innate delay, which is a given online, you know, that's unavoidable. Something about just the atmosphere of like the sweat and like the loud noises, ears ringing a little bit because I never use ear protection. And just it's awesome. I love both though. And I also, you know, I talk really high about like doing IRL performances, but doing VR stuff, I love just like the raw connection of like, it's just like, it's global, you know, you never know who you're talking to, where they are, and it's being able to reach that many more people in comparison to like a local show, where it's like, you know, a little more intimate, but, you know, I guess if that makes sense.
No, it makes a lot of sense. So how many live performances have you had, and would you mind telling us about some of them, like especially some of your first ones? Were you nervous when you went up? How was the experience different from what you were expecting?
Ooh, okay. I'll do my very first one. I I got flown out to Chicago. This was still VR-esque, but it was them running an IRL thing, and it was kind of early on. I think it was 2022, something like that. DataNet was really awesome. It was my first time doing like an IRL like show like in this setting, so to say, like not just acoustic, not just singing, but DJing stuff. However, I was really big on my Porter kick, so I was doing my nurture edits and stuff like that. And I brought like all my equipment. I brought my MIDI, my piano, my mic stand, my microphone, my laptop, my mixers, and so I had my whole setup there. And so I did like a my own nurture live edits and stuff at Chicago in this like apartment venue, which was really sick. They had like a projector in the back and like a big long room, and they had VJs and stuff like that. And that I was very nervous starting out, but I ran the set like 100 times, and I, you know, I was pretty confident with my own performance ability. The most nerve-wracking part was the technical setup, you know, connecting to their system, making sure like my mic doesn't feedback as much, and figuring that out live and stuff like that. But after the first song, once you get into it, that's when it's just bliss. That's when it's just, you get in the zone, you're just doing what you know, and people are loving it and enjoying it. And when I played the last song of that set, Get Your Wish, seeing everyone like arm in arm and like swaying to like the slower parts, and then like it popping off and everyone jumping, it's awesome. And really cool that my brother was there to see it live too. And it was a really fun experience. Yeah.
Well, were you expecting anything going into that experience, that whole show, may I ask? And was it how was it like when you started doing it?
I honestly, I don't think I had any expectations. I was just really glad to have the opportunity to do what I do in like my VR specific stuff, like the Porter edits. I like started out in VR and stuff to do that kind of stuff IRL, and it was awesome. It was cool.
Okay. Cool. And of your shows you've played, both VR, IRL, what have been some of your favorites?
As of recent, I I got flown out to play at Detour back in shit. When was that? A couple of months ago, I think. That was awesome. I loved being able to. That was a pure DJ set. I didn't do none of my edits and nothing like that. It was just mixing and high energy. Really cool to be able to play for the community IRL like that as well. I think just being able to like they let me bring my mixer because I use specifically the tractor control modules and stuff like that. But being able to like doing it a lot in VR and then doing a show IRL with them is like such a cool experience. You get to really know them, outside of like virtual reality and stuff like that.
Oh. So another question I ask a lot of people such as yourself is, what have been some mentors you've had over the course of you like stepping into your musical career what are some of the things they shared with you that helped you along the way or stuck with you?
I think when I was first getting into the DJ scene, seeing DJs that I really loved the sound of, like SWA, hearing their mixing style, kind of like getting inspiration from it. Seeing Sly, runner of Slyfest, run Slyfest itself, really, really paved the way for me to like know what it's like to manage a big event like that, which kind of led to Nurtured. And then Jazzy, VRCDN owner, even just introducing me to Sly and Slyfest team and stuff like that was kind of like I experienced a little bit of the DJ scene before I was involved in it. I remember going to Shelter on accident. I joined off a friend, and they're at Shelter. I think it was Shelter, right when Shelter 2.0 released, the one with the elevator that goes down. That was really cool to see. And I was like, whoa, this exists. That's really cool. But I was really thrown into the DJ scene with Slyfest because Sly took a chance with me. I had no DJ experience or anything like that. I mean, like I was exposed to it because of my brother, but I never did it myself. But they said they saw I did some performances for Music VCAT and VRCon and stuff like that. And so they saw that stuff and they're like, have you ever considered DJing? And I was like, what if I incorporated my acoustic stuff with the DJing? And so they were like, sure, let's do it. And so that was really awesome. They even like went as far as to give me a special stage with my piano and stuff. And I was like, wow, which really, really like right off the bat showed me, I guess, how genuine Slyfest and the staff is there. Like they genuinely just want artists on there and don't care about much anything else except for getting people to experience other artists. Because I had no DJ experience, but they still threw me on there. So my first booking was Slyfest, and I was like, this is really, that's awesome. And I feel very humbled that I was able to have the opportunity, and it led to all this now. So
wow. So what was your first DJ experience like up on the Slyfest stage, being your very first show ever?
oh my goodness, my nerves were crazy. I recorded a highlight of it, and like I had camera people recording the whole time. So like before my performance, you kind of saw me on the stage like jumping, like my arms around you, like nervous stuff. But it was really cool. It was awesome. I did have performance experience, but having that specific amount of energy was totally different from my acoustic stuff. I'm so used to like the emotional, slower songs, and then now all of a sudden I'm in the middle of a pool that's on a riser with like people surrounding me, and I was like, this is wild. I love this. And the core memory towards the end of the set with the emotion, I love doing like emotional stuff in my things. Just seeing for the first time, I saw snowflake emoji spam directed towards me, and that was like, wow, I want this. I want to do this more. So that was amazing.
Oh, I can imagine what the experience was like. Another question I have for you as well is the music style you choose when you make your music and the kinds of music you sway to. What made you, was this something you knew you wanted to do from the beginning, or did you kind of experience it and choose it over time?
It definitely evolved over time. very clearly I have a lot of inspiration from Porter Robinson. It all started when he released Nurture. I was like, this album really connected with me. And like I remember listening to Spitfire and Worlds, and I was like, this stuff is sick, you know, wow, awesome electronic. But when Nurture came out, it was such a change from his usual style, and then like being just kind of experiencing that like sudden change. I was like, whoa, maybe like I like this, and I was like, whoa, I really like this. Something about the connection to, you know, nature and being open about your emotion and stuff like that really connected with me. And so seeing that translated in like I guess like a technological stance, you know, you have Nurture where it's like he has this voice modulation, but then like Blossom with like the raw acoustics of a guitar. Well, technically a piano patch guitar. It was really, really cool to see that. And so I think a lot of my music style derives from Porter Robinson, and other artists, of course. Like obviously we all listen to a lot of music. I love like 21 Pilots, Cave Town, listening to all that growing up and stuff like that. I definitely have a lot of inspiration from like Watsky and like 21 Pilots, because of like my first song I released was very rap-esque, with like electronic distorted ukulele. So I for sure take a lot of inspiration from all the artists that I listen to in general, but Porter Robinson is definitely my main inspiration. A lot of my chord structures kind of mirror the type of structures that he do. A lot of like 7 chords and like nostalgic-esque feeling, stuff like that. So that's definitely a big inspiration to my music style, Porter Robinson.
Ooh. So you mentioned the first song you wrote. What inspired it? What led you to write and create that song?
All right, so Stage Struck. This is like, if like there's one thing I'm known for is this song. It blew up way back when, and this song I wrote at the height of my, well, not the height. I was growing in popularity with my vlog streams. This was like my entertainment thing, and I knew, obviously, I always knew I wanted to do music, but this whole vlog thing was popping off because it was like the first, like, I did like a vlog in Vrchat, a live stream, and I made the overlay look like a Periscope stream, and it was a whole shtick and stuff like that. And at the time, like, you know, IRL streamers were popping off with vlogging in Japan and stuff like that. But I wrote that song. The song itself is like about a bunch of contradictions and like gaining popularity but not feeling happy with it, or like doing something that is awesome but it's not what you want, but it's good but not good for you, so to say. So it was definitely not a cry for help, but it was like admitting like, hey, like this is really cool and stuff. I don't really know if I know if I want this. And as the song goes on, I guess like the person in the song, which is obviously me, but the character in the song kind of like realizes like that like I am becoming who I am, and I know that I'll be there eventually. And the lyrics, it starts off like it don't matter who you are, and at the end the lyrics change to like it may matter who you are, and it kind of realizes like whatever I do, I have my community, and so I know that I'll be happy with that and stuff. So that was released in 2018, and it was definitely like not my break into doing music and stuff, but it definitely like started to push me to like move away from the vlogging things and do more of the piano things.
What was that transition like between the vlogs and the music? And when you were first like announcing or playing for the song, what were your thoughts leading up to like the first playing of the song?
Degenerates, e-boys, e-girls, furries, you know who you are, but you don't know who we are, do you? We're First Class Coffin, the premier goth rock band in VR. Check it out. There's that on our YouTube channel. We got merch. We have what you need.
FirstClassCoffin.RIP.
That's as real as a Hot Topic pair of trip pants for $80.
Your mom's a hot topic.
Uh, wait, are you saying what was the transition to?
For you, like, what was the transition like going from like vlogs and entertainment into the music and the release of your first song? What was it like for you, like leading up to the playing and performing the song for the first time?
Gotcha. So there's actually a core memory I have. I was doing my usual shtick with the vlog and stuff like that. And I'm not happy with how my old content was, but I followed the meta. I did stuff for clicks. And so I would like invite all my female friends and stuff, and there would be like, oh, funny sexual jokes here and there. And one day I was doing my thing, and then like all of a sudden I was like, I hate this. I don't want to do this anymore. And so like I kind of like wrapped up the stream, and I was like started to formulate like a music schedule and stuff like that. Because I kind of got sucked into the analytics and seeing like, what hit with the viewers and what didn't, not necessarily even thinking about, what I'm doing. And so that one day I just like flipped, and I was like, no, I'm done. I'm going to stop these things, and I'm going to focus on my passion, the music I want to do. And so definitely there wasn't a lot of visible build up to it, but it was all a lot of internal. Like I focused on the entertainment and stuff, but every now and then I did a random music stream or something like that. But over time, it was just like eventually I just I wanted to pursue my passion. I wanted to pursue music, and it just kind of overflowed and flipped. I can't tell you the first time I performed a song live. I don't remember because I performed it so many times. But it is mainly a ukulele song. And I do remember one of my streams. It's like I was able to get enough donations to get like my mixer and my microphone and stuff. Actually, the mixer I use today is still the same one. And then like I ran the stream to just me on the Great Pug in a private world, in front of the mic playing my ukulele. I definitely wasn't as good as I am today, but it was awesome to be able to just like be like, I'm swapping, I'm doing this, I'm gonna play music now. And then I did lose like the entertainment like viewers and stuff like that, which is totally okay. But in turn, I gained the music community and stuff like that. So.
Oh, okay. So, at what moment during your like doing music after the switch did it feel like this is real? This is what I want to do. Like, when did it like set in? Do you remember that moment?
When did it set in? Man, it was very gradual. It's hard for me to pinpoint an exact moment, but I will say, as soon as I saw people joining on a consistent schedule and like I saw like consistent returners, that was like, hey, people like what I'm doing here. They wouldn't be here for no reason. They're putting time out of their day to listen to the things I'm doing. Definitely, I think when I started running Nurtured and stuff like that, when the first Nurtured that happened, at that time I was kind of on a stream break, because I was discovering the DJ scene, and I was like so enamored. I was like, wow, this is awesome. Obviously, for the Slyfest booking is like one of the biggest, like, wow, like, this is awesome. But in terms of my own personal stuff, Nurtured was my next like, hey, this is sick. This is awesome. Nurtured, if you don't know, it was a music festival in Vrchat that was heavily inspired by Porter Robinson, ran for 3 years ish, and that's my baby. Nurtured's like my little baby. It's definitely something that I'm known for within the Vrchat DJ scene, and it's awesome. We had 3 installments of it because we ran it once a year because it ran on April, which is when Nurture was released. And then there's like Nurtured 1, 2, and 3, but then we had like special, like there was like a Nurtured 2 Halloween pop-up. There was Nurtured 3 finale, which was like me ending it. But that specific event that I managed and ran was also a big like big like, this is what I want to do point, like music in general. It isn't really adjacent to the acoustic streams and stuff like that, but it is still very, music community based and like passion driven,
May I ask what led to the creation of Nurtured, and let us know how some of the events ran and some of your experiences with that over time?
Yeah, so Nurtured started out as I loved the album so much. I wanted to invite a couple of friends to just pre-listen to it and just like enjoy it. And so we were talking about it, and then one of them said like, "What if there was a world for it? We have a lot of talented people in the community." And I was like, "Oh, okay, sweet." And it's like, "What if I DJ'd for it?" And it's like, "What if you made a performance for it?" And it's like more and more people. I kind of like talked to friends about it, invited them, and more people got interested in it. And then we were like, "Wait, this is actually might become something. Let's actually get all these DJs who love Porter Robinson to play here." And so it kind of turned from like a friends gathering celebrating a little album to kind of like a love letter to Nurture and like how many people it inspired in Vrchat specifically. And it ended up, so Nurtured 1 ended up, it was just called Nurtured. Didn't know we were going to do more. But it ended up having, I think like 20 DJs or something. It was like an all day thing. Also, one of the few events that featured a day to night transition in the same world. I remember seeing Slyfest in the beach for Mochi's Beach, where they had a day version and then they dropped a portal to the night version and stuff like that. And I was like, what if this was just all, in the same instance? What if it was automated? And so that was really, really cool to experience. That stuck with a lot of people because it was such a long event, and there was definitely a culture in the time, maybe it still exists now, but like if you're in the main instance and like it's full, you don't want to leave, you want to stay for the whole thing, and so people stayed during the day and then they saw it transition to night, and that was a lot of people remember that, and it really felt real because they were in like so Nurture is very nature themed, so they were in like a grassy area, and like just seeing that happen felt like a real thing. It was really cool. And so that was Nurtured. And people loved it. And so we were like, let's do it again next April, because, it's another anniversary of the album. So Nurtured 2, in my opinion, was the best Nurtured of all of them. Wasn't too ambitious, but we did push things. So Nurtured 2 was essentially 2 days, because Nurtured 2. And then we had little like headliners at the end of each day. And I wanted to kind of, I wanted to push ourselves. So I kind of came up with like these dynamic stage designs for the headliners. So like at the time, most DJ events were kind of static. You had like, you had the decks and awesome lights and stuff like that. But then, that was it for the most part. For Nurtured 2, we actually had like animations like coded in, and then like for example, when Ghost Data came on to play, their crystal like cathedral came up in the background, a big ram skull came in and hit the tree, and leaves fell everywhere, and it was like, whoa, this is really cool. And this was like early on, so you didn't really see that a whole lot. And so that was Nurtured 2, really awesome. I will say I wasn't able to do this alone. There was a lot of help along the way, for sure. A lot of like shader work and making the world dev and logistics. I focused on primarily managing all the DJs and artists, because that's a lot of work, having to time slot 20 people and then having to time slot 40 people for the 2-day one was crazy. I used this program called PureRef, which I found from Slyfest. And PureRef is basically like a big board where you put text and images down. And so it basically it was like a logistical nightmare, but it was worth it. Oh man. I guess I'll keep going with all the Nurtured. So that Nurtured 2 was awesome. There was sorry, I heard the world like a little ding.
Oh, the gong.
Oh, top of the hour.
Holy shit, that's cool. I like that feature.
Yeah, it's cool. But so to kind of reiterate, Nurture 2 was peak. It was awesome. Velocity ran lights for him. Big shout out Velocity. Amazing stuff. And then Nurture 3 got a little bit too ambitious. Nurture 3 was the worst of all the nurtureds, in my opinion. There are a lot of things that happened there. I was like, hey, we did awesome with the headliner stage designs. Now let's do every DJ has custom stage designs. And I was like, oh, I got maybe like 50 stages done. And then I was like, dead, because it was 3 days. And so now there are like 20 DJs each day. And then on top of that, VJs. And it was like, holy shit, it was too much. Way too ambitious. The world release, the event happened. There were so many issues with it. We had several uploads mid-event, which caused desync. Oh my god, it was a mess. And the worst part of it all, Vrchat Creator Economy recently released, and I was invited to it, and so I tried to monetize it, and I was like at the peak of my I kind of had a little bit of an ego, and so I was doing some marketing techniques to get people to buy prior to it, and it worked, and it was poorly implemented because the world itself sometimes didn't work. It was a mess. And oh my god, one of the biggest things I regret, and it was a decision I made on my own, was to intentionally not include side instances. I only had a main, and every side instance had a big sign that said "buy prior to get into main." And so it was a FOMO marketing tactic. It was leaving people out. It was rough. I learned a lot from it, and got a lot of deserved criticism for it. And so to make up for it, we posted Nurture 3 finale, and learned from our mistakes from that last one. Got every stage done with this one because we worked, better. There were some changes and stuff with like the staff and everything like that. But Nurture 3 finale was a lot better, which happened. So Nurture always happens in April. 3 finale happened in December because I wanted it to be totally different. And usually it's like a grassy summer field, and now it was like snowing and like going like cold, and it was really cool. But that was like the last one, Nurture 3 finale. And we made this last one because I wanted to finally start focusing on my own IP. I love Porter Robinson, but I have my own stuff too. Oh, excuse me. So that is the saga of Nurtured. Obviously, there are a lot of nuances and stuff like that. Along the way, there have been some really, really talented people helping me. Lavi, amazing coder, awesome stuff. Tap Goal, can just read Unity errors and oh my goodness, amazing backend stuff like that. Way back when in Nurtured, Iron Biscuit did the world for that one. And then Velocity came along, Nurtured 2, did all the lighting for Nurtured, a lot of the lighting for Nurtured 3, and then Nurtured 3 finale ran so much of that, and then still works with me to this day. Velocity is my technical director for all things Naku event related, which is amazing. Nurture 3 finale also introduced me to my manager now, Harana. She just kind of came along at the right time in the right place, and things were, it was really busy, and I was going back and forth and barely handling things, and then she was like, let me do this for you, and then let me do this for you, and then I ended up just letting her do all these things for me while I focused on the crowd interaction and everything like that, and so she just kind of became my manager. It was awesome. Yeah, there were so many people who worked on this thing. I'm trying to remember. I want to make sure I mention them all. Delicious Salad did the landscaping for Nurture 3 finale. Nurture 3, Lavi did the landscape for that one. Aros did UI elements for the world in Nurture 3 finale. And then we'll go back a little bit. Nurture 3, Mindtech did some VRSL lighting, stuff like that. Used a lot of VRSL custom assets from Texane and all that stuff. There's so I want to reiterate, so many people helped with these types of large scale music festivals. I alone could never do it. And it's awesome. It's an amazing thing. Nurture 3, Nurtured in general, that's my baby. And I'm really happy with where it went, and hope you're resting well.
So another question I have for you that I would like to ask is, what is some of the harder things or difficult things you've done, and how did you overcome those?
Ooh. Okay. Definitely one of the hardest things in general is outside of the music stuff. Just kind of coming to terms with you yourself as a person. People make mistakes, and growing past those and learning to accept the things you've done. These things can definitely affect your creative outlet, and kind of accepting the mistakes I've done in the past is one of the hardest things for me, I guess. I think that goes for anyone, really. Obviously, a lot of us here, have our own passions and stuff like that. But we're all human, and first and foremost is your own, I guess, mental health and stuff like that. So, definitely one of the hardest things is just coming to terms with yourself. I think that's one of my biggest struggles.
And were you ever able to overcome it at all? Or did you ever come to the other side of accepting yourself?
Yes, I think so. I've come a long way. There's definitely a lot of people I've hurt in the past. But I think, I think I can be happy with who I am now. Definitely have progressed as a person. But to bluntly answer you, I feel like I have started to accept myself.
That's good. I'm glad you've been able to accept yourself. I've learned over the course of my life, the longer you progress through whatever it is you're doing, the more life will challenge you and force you to grow. And whether or not, I think that a lot of the time, it's like we're finding a stone, or a stone being in water. The more the stone stays in the water, the more it'll start rounding it out, the smoothing it off. Life is a lot like that with people as well.
Yeah, that's a good analogy. I think definitely I see them as stepping stones. Definitely each chapter of your life is definitely one step forward to what you want to become, I guess.
Now that we've heard a lot of the stuff you've been up to over time, did you expect the journey you've been on since you put on the plastic potato?
Wait, would you say that again? What was that?
Did you expect the journey you've been on since putting on this plastic potato?
Oh.
The VR headset.
No, not at all. No, I didn't think it would I did not expect it, It's definitely been quite the journey, and honestly, it's only going up from here. I'm really excited for the future stuff that we've been working on, since now I'm focusing completely on the original IP. I'm so excited.
Ooh. Another question that I know Raptor was here. If he was at work, he'd ask you, which is, if someone's come up to you and ask your advice doing what you do, what would you tell them?
Just be genuine, Definitely just be honest. I know people talk about tactics of know who you're talking to, try to get into the scene, or be around people who will put you forward. And I'm like, no, just do what you want to do. And just kind of be honest, I guess. If you see this passion driven community as if you see it as just a step, or just a way to progress yourself, then it's I don't really feel like you're in the right place. There's so many passionate people about their creative endeavors here. I don't think it really should, I don't really think it should be about a ladder, so to say. It's not ranked League of Legends, you're not trying to get up there. It's all about just your own creative outlet. At least that's how I see it. So my advice is to just do what you want to do, and the people who care about the things you do will come. I don't know, living proof of it. I just kept doing it, and then community just kind of started growing around it. And I did have my dips. I did have my nurture 3, my corporate time, and I learned from it. So that's that's what it is. Just be genuine, be honest. You make a mistake, just admit it, and you make or you do something great, be confident about it. But don't I guess lie. Just kind of be genuine about the things you do.
Ooh, thank you for answering that. I greatly appreciate that. Now,
Of course.
what are some things you're currently working on that we can look forward to, or that you're currently projected to release?
Okay, so this has been in the works for a year and a half. We did tease it a little bit. We dropped a big poster in the New Year's World. Thank you, Vrchat. The Naku Virtual Tour, going on virtual tour, 2026. People have done tours before, but they've been implemented in ways that I think could be improved on. A lot of the times, the tours I've seen was someone performing at a venue, and then performing at a different one, but then performing at a different one type of thing. Sometimes they add some really cool, consistent themes to them. Shout out Tentacle Tour, Onumi had a really cool thing. But I think the coolest thing about this whole thing that we're doing here is I'm working with Velocity, who does touring in real life in Australia, and he does lighting for big companies and stuff like that. And he has the tour experience, and I want to be able to translate that real tour feeling into VRChat. So our plan, I won't go too much into it because I don't want to spoil too much. But I will say it will include a lot of venues, and it will include public worlds and stuff like that. And basically we'll be going to these different tour stops with a big show and like a coherent theme between each one, with the added, I guess, experience of someone who's been touring in real life. So like we want to implement things like I personally want to implement like a little meet and greet after each show, because that happened in Nurture 3 finale and it was awesome. There was this tent in Nurture 3 finale with like people. The Prince update just released and people were printing pictures and putting it there. And so a bunch of people came and crowded around that tent. But one of my friend was doing a bit and be like, "Hey, make a line, yo, make a line." And so they made a line, and then they actually came in one at a time. We had someone inside taking a picture, and then we were, "Thank you so much for coming. What'd you enjoy the show?" And then the next person came in, and it was like, "Wow, this is cool." So to implement that at each tour stop will be really fucking fun and sick. But there are things in the tour that I'm so excited about that we've been working on, but I don't want to spoil it too much. But I will say that there is a lot of awesome insight from someone who is in the industry. So it's going to be really, really awesome, and I hope it's implemented well and that people enjoy it.
Ooh, sounds exciting. Mask, what was it like working with someone who's in the industry, Mask?
It's really cool, really insightful to see how things translate IRL into VR. Like the whole DMX lighting rig stuff is like real. They were using real programs that actual venues use to translate it into VRChat. It's like, whoa, that's really cool. And then just knowing how things are physically set up in an IRL venue to translate that into a VR venue is cool. Like cabling, like, oh, the XLR from this speaker runs over to the mixer board front of house. And it's like, oh, these plugs need this amount of voltage. So then let's use a specific like truck for like power as a model, So it's like when you do these things, it really adds to the grounding experience of a VR venue. Going back to Nurture 2, we painstakingly connected each speaker to the mixer board, ran the cables under front of house through cable management. It was really cool. Had power supply in the back intense. It was like we had the whole thing going on, and that's also why I feel like Nurture 2 was the best one, because there was a lot of painstaking detail to it, and it was just awesome. But I forgot the question.
As was like working with someone who was in the industry.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, no, it's really insightful, and I'm really drawn to people's, I guess, passions. Like when I see someone so locked in on something they're doing, it really draws me to them. And hearing Vel talk about lighting rigs and seeing them work on things with me is such like it's so cool to be around. I just love being in that type of environment and energy. Shout out Velocity, hell yeah. And then yeah, no, it was really cool. We're working on a few things with the way the audio is going to be sent in through this tour, and to not go too much into detail. It's going to be mirroring IRL stuff with like sending all of my audio data to a physical mixer that he controls in Australia and sending it back. It's going to be so sick. Yeah, and like he recorded a video, a proof of concept, and actually sent it to the Yamaha head in Australia. And I was wow, that's really cool that they're able to see these kinds of things. So I'm really excited.
Oh, I bet. Well, we'll ask the last couple questions before you start wrapping up. First of which is the name using Vrchat, where to come from and why to use it.
Oh, so Naku, a childhood thing, I guess. I loved anime. I still do. And the full name of it was like a mixture of different anime names. Nakuyomaru. That's the name. I was like 10 or something, and like I know like Ichimaru from Inuyasha's there, Na, Naruto, Naku. I don't know where all of it comes from, but I know there's just names from all these animes I used to watch. Over time, I thought it was kind of lame, and it shortened it. It just kind of progressed, and then now I'm just Naku. That's kind of what stuck to me.
Ooh. And the avatar you're in, why to use it? Is there anything about it that means anything to you?
Initially, not really. I used to do Vroid and like really design it specifically to really look like me. I had kind of like a big life change, and I wanted to change, I guess, how I looked in here. So I've always liked booth models. You know, who doesn't like a booth baddie? But I loved the face of Jala, mainly because people don't really use it. You know, Maki, Manase, there are the very popular male humanoid races, but we don't have a lot of choices. But Jala, I saw, and not a whole lot of people use it as much. I wasn't a big fan of the whole, augmented doll mannequin style at first, but it kind of grew on me because I chose this model for the face, and then just kind of stuck. And then now all of a sudden it kind of ties into like lore, because like a mannequin playing piano is a shtick, It's like oh shit, I come to life and I'm a marionette, So it just kind of stuck. Yeah.
Ooh. Well, thank you very much for your time and allowing us to get to know you and hear your tale. It means so much to hear it. Thank you very much.
Of course. It was fun. It was awesome. Thank you. I know we've been trying to do this interview for like over a year, so I'm glad I was finally able to. But yeah, no, it's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure. If you want to find out any of my stuff, where to find me and stuff like that, you can go to my website at imnaku.com. We're currently kind of fixing a few things here and there, but you can find all my information there. So,
ooh, we'll be sure to have that link right there in the description in the video for you guys to find, or Spotify, it'd be in the same place, so in the episode description. Again, thank you very much again, and I'm glad we're actually able to get together. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, of course. Pleasure's all mine. Thank you so much, and good luck with your future interviews.
Thank you very much. And at this point, we'll ask you, the audience, a question, because we normally always do. What are you passionate about? We all love reading all of these things, so please let us know. Thank you very much. And as always,
Meow. 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 This is not as easy as it looks without making it. Meow. 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 Beep beep. Mom, I forgot to get my flyer license. Yeah. My helicopter's in the ditch. Whoa, big hole. Whoa. Beep beep.